Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a BMI Nashville composer with a unique Detroit rock country sound. Please welcome Kat Beal. Hi, Kat.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me on, Allie.
Oh, anytime. Now, are you in Nashville right now, Kat? Is that where you live?
No, I actually am out of the Detroit area.
Oh.
I live in Marine City, but I work and perform in Detroit and record here. I also record in Nashville, obviously, but I'm back and forth a lot.
Ah, okay. Okay, Nashville's on one of my bucket list things. I want to go so bad.
It's a great place. It sure is. And lots and lots of music. Very talented people in the Nashville area.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and it's a very... it's like a big community, which is kind of nice. So, now, when I hear you sing, I'm going to save that. You know what? I'm going to save that till after you tell me all about yourself, because you have quickly become one of my favorite artists, and I'll tell you why after we're done.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is such a kind compliment. Thank you.
Oh, it's the truth. Trust me. Now, I know you have a lot, like you do a lot of things for women and veterans and your music. Like, how old were you when you started getting interested in music?
I was extremely young. I remember writing poetry as far back as 5 years old when I first started writing, and being in the church choir with my dad as well.
Wow, that's a long time. So,
yeah.
what like you play guitar, or I'm sure some instrument?
I play guitar very poorly. I take lessons and I try really hard, but it's not as easy to me as the writing and the singing and performing.
Yeah.
I'm still plugging away at it and trying.
I had a hard time learning. I don't know how to play. I apparently had lessons. I don't remember much of them, but yeah, I don't remember how to play.
I know 6 chords, and I could probably strum a few songs, but I wish I played better, and I'm going to keep trying until I do.
Right on. So basically, you are a writer and a musician, like you sing.
Yes.
And you have...
Yes, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, you're very good at it. Now, do you have a band that supports you then? Like, is there people that are always with you?
Well, I have the Kat Beal Band, and over the years, we've had revolving players. We've had one very constant player, Brian Everett, who is the bass player. He's been with us the longest, over 10 years. And so he plays acoustic rhythm guitar on occasion, and he also plays the bass, and he instructs the folks that come through very temporarily. Chris Byram has been with us for a couple of years now, and he's the one who wrote the melody for Blue Velvet Eyes. So he's very talented, very musically inclined, obviously. We've had several drummers come through. Nathan Mark was one of the longest drummers that we had, and he unfortunately recently just decided to retire from the music scene. So, but we've been very fortunate to have Larry Lebakian with us on pedal steel. We've had a really vibrant local player, Brett Lucas, with us on occasion. So that's the joy of having a revolving band, is you get to work with so many different musicians. Yeah,
that would be awesome. I know a lot of bands do that, and I think it's just great, because not only is it, different musicians, they can obviously bring something new to the table every time. So
absolutely, and it expands your music network as well. And here in Detroit, we have an excellent music family. Everybody takes care of each other and makes sure that they have what they need to make the music happen.
Yeah, and I didn't know that about... Well, I know... I mean, yeah, Detroit Rock City. Yeah, I guess. I still...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All genres, too, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Now, talk a little bit about your passion for supporting the strength in women.
Well, I unfortunately had a domestic violence situation in my own life when I was a young wife, And it took me a while to realize that situation was not okay, and to build myself up enough to have the strength to remove myself and my children from that situation. And so I know what it's like to be there and not feel like it's the right thing to do to leave your situation, or so I try to write songs that give the strength to the women who not only have already decided to leave and who are out there on their own raising their children, but the ones that are still in those circumstances, to give them the strength to walk away from it and know that they're worth more than that.
Yeah, I was the same thing. Actually, my whole life, which is crazy. And what people don't realize is you think that, okay, this is how it is, and you try to love them, and you
Right.
think, love is going to change them, and so on and so forth. And it takes a lot to walk away and break the cycle, because it is a cycle of abuse.
Exactly, and it's so odd how that becomes normal in your mind, and you don't realize how abnormal it is until after you've left that situation.
Exactly. And, I'm so glad that you write songs to empower women, especially coming out of a situation like that, because it can be scary. I mean, I was a single mom, and it's hard, but definitely worth it. And you find, you start loving yourself more, and you respect yourself more because
That's
you did
right.
walk away. So
That's right, and the strongest women I've ever met, and they turn out to be the ones that can really encourage other women as well, because they humble themselves enough to know that we all make mistakes and we work through them, and it just makes us a lot stronger, and it allows us to give that empowerment to our children as well.
yeah, definitely. My daughter is amazing. So
Exactly. My daughter's one of the strongest young women I've ever known.
yeah, same with mine. She blows me away daily. Now talk about your compassion for our veterans, or for your. I'm not from the States, but for your veterans.
Right. Well, my father was in the Navy, and my brothers and my sister were in the Navy and the Air Force. So we have a lot of military personnel in our family. And I started to work with the veterans to do some fundraising efforts. I would perform for free for their concerts and things to kind of boost attendance and get people to donate. And they had given me a lot of recognition, which was so humbling and such an honor for me, because I did it from the bottom of my heart. And so I wrote a song called My Soldier that I talked with the veterans live, because I was so curious about their viewpoint on having their husbands be gone away from the household, at war during those times. And they gave me a lot of insight and some beautiful stories to tell. And so I wrote a song about it called My Soldier. And when we went out and performed it, it was amazing to me, the soldiers that people have in their own life. That, there's people that tell me my mother is my soldier because she's surviving breast cancer and she's so strong. Or, my wife is a soldier in our family because she goes out and she works 2 jobs, and I stay home and take care of these kids. And so everyone has a different view of who their soldier is in their life, but it was originally written for the veterans and for their wives.
Wow, that is interesting. So did you, totally off topic, did you move around a lot when you were young? If everybody was, like your dad was in the Navy, or you were stationary?
I'm sorry?
Did you
I didn't
move?
hear that question.
It's okay. Did you move around a lot because your dad was in the Navy, or did your family just stay in one spot?
We were able to stay in one spot. He was deployed when before I was born, and when my eldest siblings were still very, very young. He was discharged. So when that was all done before I came around, but no, not a lot of moving for me anyway.
Oh, well, that's good, because I've always wondered.
But I have been told many military families had to move a lot, very frequently.
Yeah, it's the same here too, and I just don't know how. Like, you're going to a new school constantly, and it just must be really hard to adapt. And I think they're the strongest people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I like that you say you're a real life country girl, because I am a country girl down to my toes. So,
literally bare toes in the dirt, right?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, people look at me funny when I walk around barefoot, and I'm like, no, this is normal. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I had a fishing pole in the trunk of my car at work. One day I went fishing on my lunch break, and I came back, and one of my coworkers was getting out of their beautiful BMW SUV and looked in the back of my Chevy and said, "Is that a fishing pole? Were you fishing for lunch?" And I said, "I was fishing at lunch." I'll probably have the fish for dinner. But
Oh, that is too cool. Yeah, yeah, me too. You put me on a boat with a fishing rod, you can leave me there for the whole summer. Like, just leave me there.
exactly. I love fishing.
Oh, God.
I love horseback riding and walking and four-wheelers and hiking. I love all of it. I love being outdoors.
Yeah, that's the best way to be. So, you said Chevy. Are you a Chevy girl?
I shouldn't say that because my brother works for Ford. But, yeah, I do drive a Chevy. I love Jeep, actually. Jeep is my very favorite. Jeep Wrangler is my favorite vehicle.
Yeah.
So
I have a Jeep, but I'm a Chevy girl. But I have a Jeep. That's crazy. Anyway,
yeah,
we're like sisters, kind of.
or two of a kind.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you're not signed, right, Kat? You're independent?
I am very independent. I really like it this way, actually. I mean, who wouldn't love to be signed by a major label, right? But I really enjoy having the ability to put my music out there the way that it was written, and not having a lot of input from corporate influences.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the very natural state of the things that I've done.
And I'm hearing that from a lot of people now, that they would rather be independent because of that reason. Their music doesn't get touched. It is as is. And also they get to, do their own schedule and, performances and whatever the case may be. They're in charge.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot of people's dreams to be signed by a major label, and that is awesome because, of course, that's how you're going to get national, worldwide attention, unlike Carrie Underwood,
Right.
Keith Urban, so on and so forth. But I know a lot of people nowadays are staying independent because of those reasons. Now, I'm going to tell you why you have become one of my favorite artists. I wanted to be Stevie Nicks when I grew up. She's still my idol. You remind me of her so much that if I close my eyes,
wow.
it's like, oh my God,
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, no, it's so true, Kat. Like, you've got that growl, and you've got, oh my God, like I could listen to you 24 hours a day. That's
thank you.
First person I thought of when I started listening. I was like, oh my God, she sounds like Stevie Nicks. Like, if you two sang together, it would be kind of hard to differentiate. I mean, you don't copy her at all. You just have the same sound. And if you ever decide to record Landslide, please send it to me. It's my favorite song.
That is such a kind compliment. Thank you so much. And I adore Stevie Nicks' voice. And I was very much influenced by Brenda Lee at a very young age. My father used to listen to all the rockabilly music. So I loved Elvis and Brenda Lee when I was really, really young. And so I always thought that's what influenced my voice. But that is a beautiful compliment because I love Steve Nicks.
Yeah, who doesn't? And I mean, that's where you get, like, because you're in Detroit, you get your unique Detroit rock country style.
Yeah, definitely from folks like Alice Cooper and, those dirty Detroit rock guys. We used to have Blondie and those folks come through Detroit. And so when I first started recording, I had a lot of folks that were with me, which I was honored and blessed to have, that actually played with Alice Cooper and Blondie and the Ramones. I had Alan Valentine from the Ramones working with me at one point. So it was inevitable that we would get that rock sound.
Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It sets you apart. You're very unique.
Thank you.
And I love that because it makes you more noticeable. But yeah, Please, please do Landslide and send it to me. I will be so happy. Anyways.
I will do that. I'll make it a point to try to do that. That sounds like fun anyway.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite songs. But yeah, and I mean, because you have that unique sound and it is reminiscent of Stevie Nicks, I can see you, like, how long have you been doing this now, Kat?
I've been doing the writing for about, well, like I said, since I was a child, but the performing and recording for about 10 or 15 years.
Wow. Well, I can see you. I mean, I hope to God that, being on my show helps you. And I'm going to put
thank you.
Yeah, where people can find you, because
it's a huge blessing anyway. I love talking with new people, and it's such an honor to be able to do interviews and be able to be heard, because that's the whole goal behind the purpose, right, is to get these songs heard so that they may touch the intended ear.
Exactly. And I have listeners all over the world. It's so funny because it's the United States first, and then Canada, and I'm like, I'm Canadian, and then then the UK, and then I get places like Paris, France, and Beijing, and Russia, and
Wonderful.
Holland, and I'm like, oh my God, like it just blows me away.
Well, it's such a blessing to reach out that far, and I've gone back and forth to Canada on occasions as well, and I love Canada. They take such good care of their country. It's so beautiful. I just love the countryside, and the cities are all very clean and beautiful. I've been there. I know I was in Toronto not long ago, and of course Sarnia is local here in Windsor.
Yeah, Ontario. If you ever get a chance, go to Vancouver Island. You will love it. If you're a country girl, you'll be in heaven. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I grew up outside of Winnipeg. I live in the city now, but I grew up outside of Winnipeg in a town that was in the middle of the bush, and it was called Pointe du Bois, which means end of the road, because you couldn't go any further. It was all water, and it was a bush, and there was maybe 50 people that lived there. It was amazing. I had such a great childhood. So I want to ask you...
I was in Winnipeg.
Did you?
About a year and a half ago, I did a show in Winnipeg.
And I missed it. Next time you come
okay.
through...
I plan on coming back.
Good,
I liked it.
good.
It was a neat place.
Yeah, it is, and I want to be there. So definitely let me know if you're going to do that.
I will.
Now, I ask everybody this question because any advice is good advice. If you had any advice to give any new artist out there starting out, what would it be, Kat?
Put the effort into the music. Do the very, very best you can with the writing and the recording, and put your heart and soul into it, and then have faith that it will fly. Because I think the bottom line, regardless of all the commerciality of it all, the music is really the bottom line.
Yeah, it is. That's what it's all about. And that's what you're doing. So we're going to hear 2 songs from you, Kat. What songs are we going to hear?
Country Girl's Gone, which is that female strength that we were discussing.
Mm-hmm.
And, just giving those girls a will to move on and be strong. And then we've got Blue Velvet Eyes, which was actually a prelude song in empowering young women who are addicted to drugs to keep their promises to themselves and to, and pick their heads up, because nobody else is going to pull them out of it except for them,
Yeah.
And Raising Lainey, which I'm just going to touch on really quickly, is another song. It's about a young girl, a little girl that was left behind when her mother died of a heroin addiction. So I wrote that song just to bring awareness to these young parents and the choices that they make. So.
Wow. You do a lot of empowering and stuff with your music, which is awesome. Like, wow. That is
I
really
try.
good. Yeah.
I really try. I believe that's in my heart to do it, and when I feel it, I react to it, and I think it's the least I can do.
Wow, that's awesome, Kat. I'm falling more in love with you as we go here.
Aw, I love you too. It's a wonderful blessing to talk with you today.
Yeah, it is, and I'm so glad you came on. And like I said, the door's always open. We talked about this. I have my acoustic night if you ever want to come back. And yeah, if you come to Winnipeg, please let me know because I will be there. Like, I will be there with bells on. Okay, well, Kat, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on my show and share your story with us. And like I said, hopefully we'll be talking again. You're welcome. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you just never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.